So it's not like I think it's unwise to assume or have the expectation that someone's going to come and solve fees for you, because it's kind of like it's it's having high fees is a positive thing. That means that the blockchain is, people view it as, secure and permanent, and there's high demand for that block space. So you think about the blocks as the product that the blockchain sells you. They sell you the right to store information on it. And so if you want a successful blockchain that, spans like retail and institutional use cases, and has, onboards billions of people, then, they're with finite block space, then the fees can absolutely go up. And so I'm preparing, especially for the longer term, I'm preparing for high fees on PulseChain. And even regardless, it's, still a benefit to, for the ETH side, because the whole reason that PulseChain is like the secret sauce behind PulseChain is in that like dual chain, like where both chains have, where they like similar system state to start, and then they're working independently of each other forever, and then they're connected with that PulseX bridge. That's like the secret sauce behind PulseChain, is that like that these financial applications can operate across two chains where they're connected by a market. And so the ETH side is still going to always be important, because with like PulseChain on its own, yeah, it can be successful, but PulseChain working in tandem with Ethereum, that's like world-changing, major competitive advantage versus other layer ones, because none of the other layer ones necessarily work in tandem with Ethereum in that sense. And so
what does that open up? Can you expand on that just a little bit? Like, what does that open up? If that's something that's a game changer for PulseChain, like, for people just to understand, like, why is that so important versus all the other blockchains?
Because say, for some use cases, perhaps they don't make sense to do on it, like, for a smart contract to run entirely on Ethereum. So you could, bridge over to PulseChain by means of a market, and then, run some operation there and then settle onto Ethereum, or vice versa. So, having that, it's beneficial for, spreading the load where, because Ethereum has its own set of benefits and PulseChain has its own set of benefits. And so, for different use cases that have different requirements to be able to, operate on, do the like operations on the chain that suits, their requirements, and then settle on the chain that they may be settling in. That's a big benefit. Also, it provides some resilience, where if, you have your system where, you treat it as a dual chain system from the start, then that makes you pretty resilient to different threats or different, compromises or different, issues that may arise, because, rather like, because you can kind of span two independent chains, and kind of, shift between the two. And so, it's almost like, because, there's a copy of all the assets, at least the assets that exist when it launches. And so having that copy, because it's given equally to everyone, it's like as if it always existed, or as if it like is, given to nobody. So it's, it's like the system is now like kind of bifurcated in that way. And then, and so having the dual chain, kind of, operation of a smart contract just makes it a little bit more resilient, where, where things are settled in the market across the two, where, that's how the market like expresses the risk across, like between running your contract on Ethereum versus PulseChain. And so I think it just adds a little bit of resilience to these systems. It brings in speculative opportunity, and the more speculative opportunity there is, then the more liquidity there is, and that can really boost financial applications. So across the board, PulseChain on its own, is good, but a like dual chain PulseChain Ethereum, foundation for financial applications, like there's something really special in that. So that's why I think it's important to, not just assume that PulseChain is going to solve some gas fee problem, because it's like, okay, if you think it's going to go up 10,000x and you think it's going to onboard all kinds of applications and use cases, then that's going to be expensive to use. And I know people talk about, forking away from, that forever, but it's like, okay, you're just going to fork away from your problem forever. And so Like I'm not expecting low fees on PulseChain, and I'm especially not expecting low fees on Ethereum.